The town of Ojai, California, sleeps under a blanket of pine trees and starlit skies. Nestled in the hills above the Ventura River, it hides a secret scorched into the earth, whispered about by locals, and forever feared by those who've seen the flickering figure in the woods. It began in 1948. A cabin fire erupted in the forest just beyond the town, a blaze so fierce it turned the night red. The fire department arrived too late. The cabin had already been consumed. Inside, they found a man, barely alive, skin blackened and peeling, eyes wide with unbearable agony. He had tried to save his father, who had already perished in the flames. But when paramedics returned minutes later to load the burned man into the ambulance, he was gone. Not just missing, vanished, as though the woods had swallowed him whole. At first, they thought he'd run off in shock. Then the bodies began to appear. Charred remains were found on hiking trails. A camper's tent shredded and burned to the ground. A park ranger discovered hanging strips of burned flesh on a tree limb, still smoking, with footprints leading nowhere. The authorities claimed it was bears. Locals knew better. They whispered his name, Char Man. According to legend, he wanders the hills around Ojai, face melted beyond recognition, clothes fused to his skin, eyes glowing like embers. He watches from the tree line, silent, until he strikes, rushing from the dark with a scream like fire tearing through lungs. Teenagers, drawn by morbid curiosity, sometimes dare each other to call out to him at the bridge near Creek Road, "Char Man, come out!" Some say nothing happens. Others aren't so lucky, like Trevor, a 17-year-old who went looking for thrills. He laughed as he walked the bridge with his flashlight, friends filming from the car. When he shouted the name 3 times, the trees responded, not with sound, but with heat. The forest around him shimmered like the air above a stove. The wind died. The flashlight blinked out. The last thing his friends heard was his scream. When they found the flashlight, it was melted into the asphalt. Trevor was never seen again, just ashes on the breeze. Now they say Charman burns hotter with each soul he takes, that his pain demands company, that if you listen closely in the hills after dark, you can hear the crackle of skin and the faint bubbling moan of something that should not still be alive. So, if you find yourself in Ojai, California, stay out of the woods after sunset, and never, ever call his name, because once he finds you, he won't stop until you burn.